Hello again, sixth graders. Another beautiful day. All right, we are moving on in our lesson 5. We are going to section 4. So, our second assignment for this week is we are going to be reading sections 4 through 8, the rest of the characteristics that it takes to create a full-blown civilization. So, if we look at section 4, government, we are going to see that the type of government that Sumer had was quite a bit different than ours. So Sumerians had kings versus us voting in presidents. The kings ruled all of the city states. They believed that their gods supported them. So this belief made sure that the people within Sumer never went against the king because they did not want to make the gods unhappy. So you'll see that one of the biggest things that we take away from Sumer is that the Sumerians were the first people to develop a system of written laws. Do we have written laws today? Absolutely. We abide by them. We don't want to not follow the rules, just the same as how they did not want to go against the rules back in Sumer. We had scribes that helped record the laws as well as different contracts that the Sumerians used. If we go on to our next section, religion. There we go. Sumer was a polytheistic city-state, which means that they had many gods that they believed in. Different religions have either one god or many gods that they pray to, worship to, and Sumer was one of those examples that had multiple gods. So we had different religious beliefs influencing many parts of daily life. Like I said earlier, they wanted to just please their God in every aspect. So they would pray or worship to the gods for anything from growing crops to settling disputes. So it was just commonplace to do that. We also had construction of temples and religious towers called ziggurats, and they were massive. They were about 7 stories high and as wide as 200 feet. That is massive. All right, so they believed that their gods lived in the ziggurats, most likely in special shrines up at the top. Obviously, they put a lot of effort into keeping these ziggurats pristine because, again, they didn't want to upset the gods. Next thing that we can talk about, going on to section 6, the arts. If it loads, there we go. They had a highly developed culture, including the arts. And that means that they had painting, architecture, and music. Some of the biggest things that they had were mirrors and jewelries, these temples and ziggurats, sculptures that were beautiful statues that they had, tons of music. It was really a very advanced civilization when it comes to the arts. They also had a really cool small harp called a lyre, which we'll see throughout quite a bit of ancient history, which is a wooden instrument made of a sound box with strings attached to it. I am not a very musical person, but I assume it'd kind of be like that center section of like a guitar. So it's that open in the inside and then strings that you can pluck. Very neat. Moving on, section 7, technology. They were super advanced for this time. Now we have probably the most important technological advancement to date at this time, which is the wheel. Could you imagine living our lives without wheels? Anything from moving a chair to driving a car to a wheelbarrow. None of that would be accessible without a wheel. Section 8, moving on, is writing. Another giant advancement from Sumer is the idea of written language. Now, I know we talked about written laws. They were the first to have written language called cuneiform. We will get more in depth with that later on. Your assignment, once you are done with sections 4 through 8, is to go on to Schoology. I will